Reporting from Kyiv, I'm Natalia Lutsenko, and here are the key developments shaping the war, global diplomacy, and energy markets today. Ukrainian drones hit Shahed storage site at Russian airbase, confirmed by Ukraine Security Service. There was this long-range drone struck several military targets in Russia overnight, continuing its campaign to degrade Moscow's ability to wage war. One of the key targets was the Primorsko-Akhtarsk airbase in Russia's Krasnodar region. The base is known as a launch site for Iranian-made Shahed drones, which are routinely used by Russia to attack Ukrainian cities. According to the SBU, Ukrainian drones hit the storage and launch facilities for these drones, sparking a fire in the area. Separately, drones also struck the Elektropribor military plant in Penza. The facility produces encrypted communication systems and components used in Russian military hardware. In addition, Ukrainian drones targeted the Lipetsk region, further pressuring Russia's military infrastructure deep behind the front lines. The SBU said that the operations are part of Ukraine's lawful efforts to weaken the enemy's logistics and weapon supply chains.
Systematic and targeted strikes on facilities that support the Russian army will continue until Russia fully stops its armed aggression against Ukraine. Ukraine's defense forces are using all legal means to stop the genocide of our people, which is being deliberately carried out by the Kremlin regime.
Russian forces launched a drone attack on a market in the town of Druzhkivka, Donetsk region, during peak civilian activity. Up to 10 explosions were reported in the city. According to Vadim Filashnik, head of the Donetsk regional administration, at least 5 people were injured in the attack. The strikes damaged 2 residential buildings, the market, a local store and administrational office. Several vehicles were destroyed. All emergency services are currently working at the scene.
Turn around. Further in here.
Trump confirms U.S. submarines moved closer to Russia after Medvedev's threats. U.S. President Donald Trump has confirmed that it was purely decided in response to threats from Moscow. Speaking in an interview with Newsmax, Trump criticized Medvedev's language, calling it inappropriate. Trump explained that Medvedev's comments reference nuclear weapons, and when that happens, the U.S. must take it seriously.
Oh yeah, well, we had to do that. We just have to be careful. And a threat was made and we didn't think it was appropriate, so I have to be very careful. So I do that on the basis of safety for our people. A threat was made by a former president of Russia, and we're going to protect our people.
Meanwhile, the Telegraph warns the risk of Putin using nuclear weapons is higher than it seems. British Member of Parliament and analyst Bob Seeley has warned that nuclear policy is becoming dangerously emotional and reactive, shaped more by social media than by strategy. While nuclear threats from the Kremlin have become routine, Trump's public reactions marks a dangerous precedent. His decisions to move U.S. submarines closer to Russia following Medvedev's online statements may signal that the U.S. president can be provoked into action through internet tones. On one hand, Seeley praised Trump for starting to use through the Russian regime, admitting that his previous appeasement approach failed, especially his attempt to offer a peace deal over the heads of Ukrainians that would allow Putin to escape consequences. On the other hand, he expressed concern.
It is perhaps not so good that Trump has made it clear that he is reacting directly to Medvedev's nuclear bluster. The Russian regime now knows that it is possible to goad the president into real-world actions if they can upset him enough online. They have spent years studying the president, and their understanding of human motivation is deeply researched. There is a risk that nuclear policy, which historically has been agonized over by experts due to its extraordinary importance and the terrible risks of getting it wrong, is now part of high-stakes trash-talking on social media.
Former U.S. President Joe Biden has warned that the United States is heading toward dark times because of Donald Trump's policies. Speaking at the National Bar Association annual awards ceremony in Chicago, Biden delivered a sharp critique of the executive branch without mentioning Trump by name, referring to him only as this guy. CNN broadcasted the speech. Biden urged Americans not to be complacent, warning this is just the beginning. The future is at risk, stressing out that judges matter, the law matters, and the Constitution matters. Although Biden did not name Trump directly, the political contrast was clear. His comments come amid growing concerns over the direction of Trump's administration and the use of presidential power. India ramps up US and UAE oil imports as Trump threatens tariffs on Russian crude buyers. India's largest oil refiner has made an urgent shift in its purchasing strategy, buying millions of barrels of crude oil from the United States and the United Arab Emirates, amid warnings from the US President Donald Trump about upcoming tariffs on countries that continue to buy Russian oil. According to Bloomberg, state-run Indian Oil has purchased at least 5 million barrels of American crude in addition to 2 million barrels from Abu Dhabi, a significant and relatively swift procurement by the company's usual standards. Earlier this week, the Indian government reportedly directed its state refiners to prepare plans for reducing reliance on Russia's oil. India's oil imports have come under scrutiny in recent weeks after the EU and US accused New Delhi of indirectly supporting Russia's war in Ukraine by purchasing discounted Russian oil. President Trump has repeatedly threatened to impose secondary tariffs on countries that continue to trade in Russian energy. In his recent post, Donald Trump singled out India, warning it would face economic penalties for its ongoing purchases. India is currently the world's largest buyer of Russian seaborne crude, having ramped up imports from almost zero to nearly a third of its total supply. That's all for now. For more content, please subscribe.